Dr. Tim. Dr. Tim, your question is success a result of talent or a way of operating?
Yes.
Oh, okay, please expand on that.
I think that the mistake we made for a generation is to tell kids, hey, you can be anything you want to be. That's not true. It's not true. Shaq is never going to be a jockey. Right? It's just not going to happen, right?
He's going to need a big horse.
And the greatest jockey in the world, I don't know who that is never going to be an NBA player, right? You can't be anything you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be a lot more than most people think they can be, right?
Sure.
And so I think there is a combination of talent and then operating or hard work or habits. That's what we're really talking about. And I think that we don't give due credit to the fact that you're going to have a certain level of intelligence to do certain things, right? Not everybody's going to become an astrophysicist.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a certain level of intelligence to do that. Now, that doesn't mean you can't become a lot of great things and a great person and create a spectacular life, but there is some talent that you're going to have, or some intelligence, or some height, or whatever it is that thing requires, especially at the highest level. Like, you might be able to be a dancer, but you're probably not going to be the world's greatest 10% dancers unless you have a certain body type, etc. So that set aside, then it becomes about what you would call operating, but I'm going to call cosmic habit force, right? Which basically,
amazing.
Not my term, I stole it. But habit force is basically everything that happens underneath the level of our conscious mind.
Okay.
So everything from the way you brush your teeth, the way you get up in the morning, everything you've done, you've formed a strand every single day that has formed a habit that's like a steel cable, and now you can't break it even if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the way we operate, it's the way the whole world operates. Every spring, the spring comes. Every fall, the fall comes. If you plant an acorn, an oak tree grows. Cosmic habit force, we call it instincts in animals. We're the only beings that actually have the intelligence to look at it from a distance and go, hey, these habits that the whole world is doing, what could we do to change our habits? We're the only ones that have that ability to actually look at our habits and say, I'd like to change these habits. And even when we decide that, you've probably done it, it's very hard to do. Once habits are in place, they're very, very hard to change, and that's what you would call your operating. And so if you're going to change your operations and how you're going to do things, you're going to have to consciously, first, and that's on you, first get the conscious idea, and then put that out to the universe, to God, however you describe that, and then every day think about that, and your thoughts become that reality. That's what actually happens, is what you think over time will become that reality. If you think poverty and sickness, you'll be poor and sick. If you think opulence and health, you'll be healthy and rich. And that is fact.
It's interesting. I feel like we tend to put the cart before the horse with regard to what you just described. We get this idea of, well, I want to be this thing. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a stunt driver. I want to be all those things, right? And then,
Me too.
right? And then, we become so enamored with that is, and we just think in abstracts about it, and then we don't succeed in doing it. And we become disappointed and then say, well, what am I supposed to do with my life? What is my life meant to mean? If we kind of did things the opposite way, the way you just described, where all we focused on were building those strands, creating those habits, and like tasting every flavor of ice cream at the ice cream shop, then you figure out, oh, this is what my calling is, and then you become that thing and become the greatest you can be at that thing.
Yes. Yeah, I think you have a bunch of idiots out there on Instagram that are 25 years old trying to tell you how you should live. Mm-hmm. And the mistake they make is saying, here's the line. Make sure you're doing what you love. Mm-hmm. The problem is nobody knows what the hell that is, right? You don't know at 25 what your major definite purpose is, what you're going to accomplish, what you're going to be, what you're going to do. So like you said, try a little bit of this, try a little bit of this. Look, any idiot can get rich. Mm-hmm. Can you stay there? That's the secret, right? Lots of idiots have gotten rich and then got poor 5 years later, 3 years later. Mm-hmm. The question is, can you maintain it? And I'm not talking about just money rich.
Right.
I'm talking about life rich. Any idiot can fall into a love in a relationship. Can you sustain it for 30 years? Right? Can you sustain your wealth for 30 years? Can you sustain your relationship with your kids for 30 years? Any idiot can do it for a short time and have an Instagram post and get a bunch of followers. The question is, what's that going to look like 25, 30 years from now? What habits do I need to form with my family, with my kids, with my wife, with my money, with my health that long-term builds strong cables that lead to a spectacular life in all areas.
I love it. Thanks, Dr. Taylor.